They said it hovered just above the waves, silently glowing and defying explanation. It was an encounter that left those involved shaken to their core. And what they described would make this case one of the most intriguing in modern times. But what exactly did the crew witness? Was it a top-secret military craft, a natural phenomenon, or something beyond our understanding? This is the story of the UFO that hovered above the Chilean Navy ship. The year was 1973 and the location was the coastal waters off the coast of Chile. A routine patrol had turned into something extraordinary for the crew of the Chilean Navy vessel. The date was April, and according to the official account, it was just another day at sea until it wasn't. At a certain point during their patrol, the crew spotted an unusual object in the sky. The object was hovering, and the sailors on board the ship were puzzled. It was unlike anything they had seen before. One of the crew members who witnessed the event described it as a large, disc-shaped object about the size of a ship emitting a brilliant white light. The glow was so intense that it illuminated the sea below, as if it were daytime. The object appeared to be stationary, defying gravity and logic. It didn't move like a bird, an airplane, or any other known flying object. It just hovered silently in the sky. As the crew watched in disbelief, the object suddenly descended rapidly, coming perilously close to the water's surface. It skimmed over the waves, reflecting the light from its underside, momentarily turning night into day. The sailors reported seeing the object's underside, which was smooth and shiny, like polished metal. There were no windows or markings of any kind. In those crucial moments, the crew sprang into action. They prepared for a possible attack, unsure of what to expect next. However, before any action could be taken, the object shot back into the sky. It accelerated instantly, leaving behind the brilliant white trail and vanishing into the darkness. It reappeared high above them, still hovering, then just as quickly, it disappeared again. What made this incident particularly remarkable was the behavior of the object. It seemed almost intelligent, observing the crew and responding to their actions. For example, when the crew started taking evasive maneuvers, the object followed suit, keeping pace with the ship's movements. This suggested a level of sophistication and technology far beyond anything known at the time. The silence was deafening. Not a sound was heard throughout the ordeal, yet it was felt in every movement of the object, every shift in its silent ascent and descent. The lack of noise only added to the mystery, leaving the crew to wonder how something so large and heavy could move without making a sound. This case stands out not only because of the detailed and consistent accounts from the crew, but also due to the nature of the witnesses themselves. These were not civilians, but trained military personnel accustomed to dealing with emergencies at sea. Their testimony adds a layer of credibility to the event, making it all the more intriguing. In the aftermath of the incident, the crew reported what they had seen to their superiors. However, the full story was kept under wraps, officially classified for decades. It wasn't until much later that details began to emerge, leaving the public to speculate about what really happened that day. The Chilean government's initial stance on the incident was one of skepticism. Officials dismissed it as a case of mistaken identity or a hoax. However, as more and more credible witnesses came forward, the government was forced to take notice. In response, they established a formal investigation to look into the matter. The investigation yielded some interesting results. Radar data from the time corroborated the crew's story, confirming that there was an anomalous aerial object in the area. But despite the evidence, the official conclusion was that the crew had seen a conventional aircraft. The case was closed, but not before raising more questions than it answered. The secrecy surrounding the case and the subsequent dismissal of the crew's accounts left many unanswered questions in its wake. What really happened that day in 1973? Was it a secret military craft being tested off the coast? An extraterrestrial vehicle visiting from afar, or simply a case of misidentification? But the truth is, even after all these years, the incident continues to be a source of debate and speculation. Some believe the crew encountered something truly extraordinary, while others argue that there is a more rational explanation. Perhaps we'll never know for sure what the crew of that Chilean Navy ship saw that night. But one thing is certain, the mystery only adds to the intrigue of this already captivating story.